My name is Apollo. My favourite food is all the food that has chocolate. I like to go to museums to learn the history of the world, and I like to play cricket, football. I do ballet and drama, and I like science. Just before the pandemic started, I wanted to compose a quartet. Then when the pandemic started, I thought that I really needed to write a piece for the heroes and victims, because in that time I didn't know what is a pandemic, and I just saw all the people suffering around me. So my quartet has 3 movements. The first movement is called survival, and this survival is for all the people that have COVID-19 to survive, that are in the hospital, to survive, to keep alive while they're in the hospitals. And the second movement is called hope, to bring all the persons, all the people, to hope that everything is going to be well and they're going to be good. That's in the hope. The second movement, I composed it in the mountains next to a river. So I really wanted to, and I routed the hope to hope all that it's good. Then the third movement is called fight, for all the people that have COVID-19 to fight the COVID-19 so then they don't have it. Heroes are the doctors, nurses, the engineers who build all the hospitals, and the scientists who were trying to figure out how to make the vaccine. And then I wanted as well to dedicate this to the victims, and the victims are persons who are ill or who died of COVID-19, and the families. I dedicate this quartet to all the heroes and victims, as I said. And then Quartet Casals, Abel and Arnau, said that their mother, Mrs. Joanna, had COVID-19 and died. And I thought that was very, very, very sad. So I wanted to dedicate the second movement, Hope, to Mrs. Joanna. Music is a language that all the people in the world can understand. That different countries, they speak different languages, so they can't understand each other. So music is a language that everyone can understand. And I want to say to everyone that please help the heroes that follow, that if we don't help them, we will not stop the pandemic. And so follow their rules, like washing your hands, don't be next to other people, and please get the vaccine.
Being musicians during this global pandemic and experiencing the shutdowns and the loss of in-person audiences and in-person concerts and performances, and that sense of community that you get when you are able to collaborate in the same room and play live music, has been so difficult to lose all of that and to suddenly be isolated in our own homes and unable to collaborate in real time the way that we could before. And I think for all of us in the quartet, we experienced a huge sense of loss when everything first shut down. We had to cancel our season finale concert. I think probably one of the most difficult things we've had to do as a quartet was figuring out how do we adapt to this new world when we can't be out in our community engaging with our audiences face to face. One of the silver linings of the pandemic was that we were forced to adapt. We were forced to grow in new ways that we hadn't really explored before. Namely, we had to become comfortable with technology quickly. As everything began moving online and moving into the digital space, we realized that if we wanted to be able to keep making an impact with our music through this period, we would also have to find ways that we could reach our audience virtually. And the benefit of that has been that we've been able to grow our community to become much more global than it had been before. We were forced to begin learning how to be comfortable recording, be comfortable editing, compiling videos, and that's something we really hadn't spent much time on before. Our first project that we released during the pandemic, we actually had to record separately. We were still separated by quarantine, and we each recorded one voice of a 4-part Bach chorale, and we were able to put them together post-production and realize these 4-part harmonies that Bach wrote. And we decided that we would pair each of these chorales that we recorded with a work of art by artists who are members at our favorite local gallery, Archway. And so we went through their catalog and we were able to pick pieces that really resonated with us. We paired them with the Bach chorales and we released a series of meditations. The flip side of this was that wasn't just about us being able to create music together but apart and to be able to look at this art, but by pairing them together we were able to create these moments of calmness and beauty that could disrupt the endless scrolling through social media or the endless Zoom meetings, so that when anyone needed a break, needed a time to breathe and just reflect, that they had a ready-made 1 to 2 minute video that they could watch and just immerse themselves in something other than fear and anxiety and work. We are so excited about this Pandemia project, and in a way it's a nice culmination of this year of learning about technology and expanding our global community. The amazing internet and global communication have allowed us to collaborate with Apollo. And even though he's been in London and doing his own periods of lockdown, and we've been in Houston, we haven't been able to travel anywhere, but we have been able to communicate with him and work on this project together, which has been a really special experience. And 2 of us, Laura and myself, actually had the opportunity to meet and work with Apollo a couple of years ago at a festival in Italy. And at that point, Apollo was about 5 years old and was at the festival playing cello and trombone. And we got to work with him in orchestra and chamber music settings and get to know him a little bit. And we were both so blown away by his passion for music and his enthusiasm for creating music and creating community with music. So when we heard about the piece that he wrote, we jumped on it. We was like, okay, you wrote a quartet, let's see it. We can't wait to play this and to help you realize, to help Apollo realize his mission of really bringing this music as a way to thank everybody who's suffered so much and worked so hard during the pandemic. And just as we had with our meditations on Bach, one of his goals with this piece, from what we understood, was to help bring comfort and relief to all of those who have suffered through this past year. Pandemia is a musical video that pairs the string quartet written by Apollo with images from Houston and from life during the pandemic. Most of the images, most of the photographs that are included in this video were taken by the photographer Reggie Mathalone, who has really a keen sense of capturing the everyday person during this pandemic. And you'll see images from the beginning when things were just starting to be shut down all the way through the vaccination clinics of today. And we think that this video really will show not only the progression of life during the pandemic, but also be a tribute to all of those who have worked so tirelessly throughout this time to work on testing and stopping the spread and vaccinating and all of the other things that happened in this past year that were so tumultuous, from people finally finding their voice to be able to speak up, or suffering the loss of a loved one. And this year has been so intense for so many of us. And we're hoping that this video can encapsulate some of that, but also give us hope that for the future, we're all still human, we're all still here. We all need each other to keep going. And in addition to this video release, we are asking for donations to help support the work at the Hope Clinic, which is a community health center here in Houston. And they have also been working tirelessly throughout this pandemic. And so we're hoping that a gift for them can help support the work that they do, not only through this year, but as we go into the future and deal with the next crisis.
The mission of Hope Clinic is to provide culturally and linguistically appropriate care to all the people living in Houston, regardless of their ability to pay. During this pandemic, Hope Clinic ramped up its services to provide testing early on in the pandemic. We started by providing rapid testing so people can get the results immediately and start notifying all those people they have been in contact with. The pandemic affected the clinic significantly, especially during the early months of the pandemic. March, April, and May of 2020 were really hard, and we lost about 40% of our patients. They were scared of coming to the clinic. Also, many of our staff got sick with COVID and were unable to work. Not only did Hope Clinic start screening early on, but also we started providing immunizations in late December. An early Christmas gift, we started providing the Moderna vaccine, and now we are immunizing our teens with the Pfizer vaccine. Some of the projects that Hope Clinic has going on is, of course, trying to reach more people with our immunizations. There are so many people that live in the fringes of the city that have barriers of language, transportation, and finances to be able to be immunized. Hope Clinic is using a van to go to these communities and provide them the much needed vaccine. The money raised through this initiative will go a long way to helping us reach more people through vaccination efforts and keep our communities healthy.